Welcome to the Escape Room, a place where small business owners get together there and talk about life and daily challenges. I'm your host, Armin, and I'm happy to introduce you my first guest and my longtime friend, Max Nottingham, the owner of Titan Pavers. Welcome, Max.
Thank you.
I'm proud to and happy to have you as a first guest. And let's talk about business.
Let's do it.
How are you doing today?
Doing good. A little bit nervous about this, but doing great.
It's my first time here, so I'm
first
as
time for
nervous as you
everything.
are. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your business. What do you do? How you do it?
So, again, my name is Max, owner of Titan Pavers. Basically, I'm a hardscape specialist. What we do is you give us a call and renovate your backyards, pools, driveways. And my specialty is interlocking pavers. So we'll come out, we'll look at what you've got going on, and then demo everything out, give you a design, and give you basically a dream backyard or driveway.
Well, I'm your customer as well, and I love your service.
I hope so.
And I'll answer to the question I'm about to ask you. Why should we choose Titan Pavers?
I tell everyone else, you don't have to.
That's true. But why
you
are
can
you
choose.
better?
We're a little separate in terms of service. In construction industry, there is a big issue, and it's customer service. So, for example, if you want to get something done, like let's say I wanted to get some gutters installed in my house right now. We pick up the phone or we find someone online, we try to give them a call, and they never pick up the phones, and if they do, the first appointment is like between Monday and next week, 10 p.m. and 5 p.m. With us, it's a little different. Give us a call, we will have an appointment ready for you, next day or at least within a couple of days. We'll show up on time, we'll give you like usually like a period of time, between like 8 and 10, for example. We'll come there, smell nice, looking good. As you can see, I'm kind of dressed. I'm king from the job right now. But the main thing is customer service and communication. That's the biggest issue with any type of contractors. Most contractors that can do the exact same job as I do or anyone else, like any other business. But customer service is the main thing in communication. And that's what separates us from most of other different contractors.
Well, it's true, and based on the experience I've had with your company, it's the actual experience of no stress and that I don't have to be present while you're working there.
Correct.
That's the most important thing, the way I see it. So, yeah. All right, how did you start business? Why did you get into it?
So I was always in construction since I was probably 16, 17 years old. I was doing sales in construction. It was I started actually as electrician. I got into plumbing. Then I got into sales of home remodeling. I can basically build a house, and I have to build a house from bottom up. But my always thing is not to work with your hands and, come manage the jobs, and help the homeowners out. The reason I got into my own business is I was really, really tired of working for someone else. I didn't like the way they did business, the way they treated the customers, how much they were charging the customers. Just the whole strategy about the business itself was not something that I was comfortable with. At the same time, I was also having a kid, so I'm like, I gotta do something in my life. And now I have 4. 4 kids. So, you live in America. Here, all you need is, get a couple of licenses, get your things straightened out, and just execute. And, you can get yourself to a place where you want to be.
That's true. And how big is your company? How many employees you have?
Right now, we have about 10 employees directly, and we have about, I'll say, 4 subs that directly work only for me. Total of, I'll say, maybe 30 to 40 people, depending on the season.
It's pretty big.
Depending, comparing to, some other small guys, yeah, but we're doing okay.
And what's the main challenge that you face on daily basis not dealing with the customers as a business owner? What's your main struggle, like organizing business, delivery, shipment, especially with nowadays
Employees
quality.
Employees is always the hard part. Finding good people who can actually execute and do the product right. I can come, or anybody can come, and this is actually another big problem. You as a homeowner or anyone else, you call someone and a salesperson comes out. And they're like, yes, we can do this, we can do that for you, this, we'll show you the world. Just sign right here, please, right now. We'll give you a discount if you sign right here, right? So, but then what happens is they come with their project manager or contractor is actually going to be doing it, and he's like, well, you can't do this, you can't do that, this is going to cost more. And then the homeowner is like, well, this is not what I signed up for.
Yeah.
So, so this is like another thing that I don't have to deal with because I come in, I know exactly what needs to be done. But then my employees, I know what they're capable of. I'm not going to sell something they're not capable of.
You're not going to be able to do it.
So one of the hardest parts is managing employees, obviously, but, we have a whole system that works out really, really well. Getting material for me is not a big issue because the stuff that I usually sell, it's made in locally. So that I don't have to worry about the whole thing what happened with COVID, that you have ships standing overseas and you can't get the flooring, you can't get lighting, you can't get a camera, you can't get anything. With us, it's kind of local. The biggest problem will happen is that when COVID hit, there was a huge demand for business.
Yeah.
And the manufacturers couldn't actually keep up with the demand.
Yeah.
So it started kind of giving us that backflow of
lag.
Yeah, of like saying, well, we do have the material, but it's going to be available in a week or two.
Yeah.
So, you have to wait a little bit, but most, homeowners, they can always wait.
I see. And, do you conduct meetings with your employees, like on daily basis? On
Not daily basis. Daily basis is too much, I personally think.
How often?
So, my sales guys, I'll say we get together. Well, I talk to them on a daily basis and I ask them what the issues are, what can we do. But once a month, we'll sit down together and we will talk about, what are the problems? What are the obstacles? How we can be improved? What do you need from me to make your life way much easier? What do you see in the market? Is anything changing? In terms of in-house employees, like front desk, something like that is, basic stuff. Are you doing okay? Do you need an extra monitor? Because I had this one girl, she's like, I need another extra monitor. And she wouldn't tell me for a month. And when I found out about this, I'm like, why don't you tell me? I'll get you 2 or 3, whatever you need. She's like, I do know how to ask you. I'm like, just ask. That's all you have to do. Just ask. Can't read your mind.
So when you start a business, you're CEO, Chief Everything Officer at the company.
When I started the business, I had about 20 hats I was wearing.
Yeah. And at which point, if you're already there, you felt like you need to hire a person that can take part of your responsibilities? And if you have someone like that.
In the beginning, when I started this, I was doing everything, literally from picking up phone calls while driving in the car, setting up appointments, ordering all the materials, which we still kind of do, but the main thing and my thing when taking off hats is when you start to expand, when you start to replicate yourself, right? So the company has been around since 2016. So I'll say the first front desk person I hired was like a year and a half in. Now we have, an accountant, the tax person, project managers that deal directly on the jobs. And the reason you only do that is you want to expand and get some free time. But when you get free time, you start, it's actually
starting something else.
You start something else. You get and then this gets out of control and that gets out of control. And it's hard. And it's really, really funny. There's an issue. When you get bigger, you actually think you're going to make more money. And it's the opposite. You start losing a lot of money in the beginning, especially in the beginning. And then if you don't have the right system in place, you can actually fail, like really, really, really bad. So you have to do it, gradually. That's why I never really expanded just from here to here.
That was my next question. How big do you want to get, like, company-wise?
That's a good question.
Do you want to be like a nationwide company?
No, definitely not nationwide. There's for what I do, it's very hard to do a franchise that way. But we're pretty big in Los Angeles. I would say, maybe double the size in the next 5 years where we are right now. So maybe opening up a couple of different territories, moving to different locations, maybe Orange County, Santa Barbara, like San Luis Obispo, or like up north. But basically opening up new offices.
Do you feel like you already have a system ready to implement that in different locations?
You have the system, but it's that...
Like, that can operate remotely without your presence?
Yes and no, but as you know, you're a business owner as well, and you operate in business the same way. It's very, very hard to trust someone else to do what you're doing.
That's true.
So, yes, but at the same time, you're like, I don't know. Also depending on the situation. Like with me right now, I'm going through, I have a family growth, whatever you want to call it. I started with 1 kid, now I have 4. That takes a lot of time out of everything. So, for example, if I wake up every day between 5:30 to like 6:30 in the morning, leave the house by like 7:30 or so, I have to come home by like 5, 6. I have baseballs with kicks, karate, gym, this, that, and that, and then they go to sleep around 8. If I don't sit down on the couch, and if I do, it's the end of my day. That literally, I cannot sit down on the couch. If I sit, that is it. But if I like don't sit and eat my popsicle, and I actually sit in front of the computer, I'll be working till like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And then it's just a repeat. But then you get burned out.
Do you feel like you're getting close to that point?
Burned out?
Yeah.
Oh, I was very burned out at one point in time. I was stressed out. It was just issues. And you think, you're starting your business and you're like, oh, I'm going to have all this free time and everything. No. It's the opposite.
Yeah, it's, there's actually a good saying, it sounds a little bit harsh, but they say that, success is like being pregnant.
Oh, yeah.
Whoever see you, congratulates you, but nobody else comment and she got,
yeah,
pretty much. To get there.
Yeah, very, very true. It's very, very hard. And also, like, how you measure success? Success to everyone is completely different from what they want to achieve. Either it's, money, wealth, family.
So what's your definition of success?
When I was younger, I was like, okay, I wanted to party. I wanted to do all kinds of things. I just needed money for that. Blew all the money out, lost everything, recessions, this, that, and that. Then I got first kid, and I'm like, for first kid, I want to make X amount of money. I'm not going to say the money, but X amount of money. And I'm like, that's going to be my success. I hit that within like a year.
That's not enough.
And I'm like, and then the second kid came. And I'm like, well, if I have one for here, and I have the second one, it has to be the same amount, but
double that.
But then I hit that again, right? Within a certain time. But then I had like 0 time for anything. I couldn't go like biking. I couldn't go fishing. I couldn't really spend time with my family. Just like, it's like impossible. Then the third one came. Same thing. Money, this and that. Then I started like hiring more people. Then I got more time, but then I had a little bit of this money. And then, like health-wise, everything's going well. But in my terms is, if you're in business, you gotta you gotta have the free time to spend the money. If you don't have that, there's no point of doing really anything, enjoying time with your family. That's my main thing.
When do you start having that guilty feeling that you're stealing time from your family to build your business? From the beginning or later on? Because I have that feeling too.
I think it's later on. It's definitely not in the beginning. Because in the beginning, you go to hustle. You go to I'm still hustling every day. I'm trying to. But now I'm like, I gotta admit that sometimes I become lazier. I'm like, I'll do this tomorrow. I start procrastinating, and then you're like, oh, shit. But in the beginning, I really didn't really feel that way. Now I kind of do. Now I do.
I have different explanation on that because sometimes I have that feeling too that I'm lazy. But then if you look at that from different point of view, you're not lazy. You value your time differently. Plus, you already have an experience how to deal with that problem.
Yes,
when you start your business, you just have to get it done. Right or wrong, you have to do it until it's done. But when you already have an experience, you're like, all right, I can do that in this amount of time, but I also have
Very
kids and
true.
family. So
Correct. Very true. I
You're
100% agree with that. It's how you value your time. What's more important to you?
have you ever had feeling that the basic knowledge of hustling is not enough anymore to grow bigger?
Oh, of course.
And what did you do? You took classes, seminars, books.
I don't take classes. I read. I talk to a lot of people in the same. I don't say business, but in the same type of position, different type of businesses, and I talk to them to find out what's their struggles and how they get through it. So I go through sources, let's put it that way, that had that experience, not a mentor, but sharing the same kind of not opinions, but sharing the same issues that, for example, I'm having, and I'll be like, hey, how did you get over this? Like, what did you do? Because at the end of the day, you're still either doing a service, selling a product, and everybody's having the same problems. You have kids, I have kids, they all grow and do the exact same things.
Yeah.
You're failing a business because there's no customers coming, or there's some type of other issue in there, and it's like, what is it? And the day, all businesses are about the same thing. It's just
pleasing a customer, serving someone.
Well, it's not even that. It's they're kind of all the same. It's just like you got to figure out what you are doing wrong.
That's true. Do you have a mentor?
I do.
One or many?
1.5. Just one big person.
Is that the actual person that you're familiar, like you're in straight contact with him, or you just follow him and read his books? Straight contact. You're a lucky man. I don't have one.
Yeah,
Are you a mentor? Can you consider yourself a mentor?
Not yet, but people do always. You know what's really, really weird, and I know for a fact you went through the same issue, is for some reason when you hit some type of and it's, I don't know why, when you hit, I don't know, it's only money success, and I'm not even that rich or anything, but as soon as you hit some type of little success, people start looking at you completely different, and they start coming to you for advices. Even
off of your profession.
Yeah, and I'm like, I have
nothing to do with
I don't know anything about heart surgery, but I'm like, okay. Well, it's just, but again, growing any business you can grow any business. It's just like, hey, you get employees, you get, time, figure out how to get your marketing straight, figure out those little issues and you execute.
I think I have an explanation to that. You just learn, when you get to a certain point of success, you just learn how to analyze the problem.
Absolutely.
And what to do to fix it. Maybe you're not the one who's going to fix it, but how to organize the process.
So in my field it's a big thing, because when I'm looking at there's a problem, right? And what I do is very, very simple. But there's sometimes things that you have to think out the box. You're like, hey, you have this thing, how can we fix it? And your employees are standing there like, I don't know. And then I come in and I'm like, well, I don't know, let's think. Let's do this, that, and that. If that doesn't work, do this, and this. Do this, that, and that. So what you said right now of analyzing a problem, that's the biggest issue, I think, with people, period. They can't understand it. And they're just taught one way. They're like, this is what I gotta do. That's what I'm gonna do. If it's going this way a little bit, it's like, oh, I'm stuck. That's it. So if you're an employee, let me rephrase it. That's how most employees think. You're a business owner, you got to figure out ways out how to maneuver around each obstacle and move up and up and up.
So do you agree that the first step to analyze problem is actually taking responsibility?
Absolutely. Absolutely, yeah.
I think that's where it starts from. Not looking for someone to blame just say, all right,
no, absolutely not. When you start pointing fingers like, oh, you messed up, or you this, or you didn't work enough, no, it's you got to hey, we have an issue. What is the issue over here? Let's figure this stuff out, move on forward, because we can't think about what's happening in the back of it. We got to figure out, let's do this, concentrate on the future, make more money, figure out issues, happy clients, all that stuff.
So you said you read books. What's your favorite book?
I don't have a favorite book. I don't have a favorite movie. I don't have a favorite song. I don't have anything favorite. I like everything. Sometimes I don't like such stuff. It's whatever fits the needs.
And there's a saying that average millionaire reads about 2 books a month.
I don't do that. I'm really bad at that. I try to listen to books. Look, I'm a lot on the road. My car is my office. My phone is literally my everything. When this little device I do like everything over here. I watch stuff, I listen to stuff while I drive. I'm really bad at that. Don't ever do that, people.
Bad advice, kids.
Yeah, but that's the way. We live in Los Angeles. Like, there's so much traffic over here from point A to point B because I commute so much to get from one project to another. With all the traffic, you got to stay sane. How do I stay, sane? I learned it, long time ago. If I don't try to learn something, or like watch something, or like, watch a documentary, or listen to some motivation speeches, or audiobooks, or even the movie or show, right? You got to kill yourself on the road. You got to be one of those people getting out of the car and just like hitting someone with a stick that you see on YouTube all the time. So what I did, I started actually like, hey, I'm gonna improve myself by learning stuff. So I usually listen to something or I watch something. It's most of watch because my phone is like right here. I don't hold it. I have a magnet. I have a track right here. Don't tell my insurance company.
Yeah.
But in terms of reading, the problem with me is, again, if I sit down on the couch or somewhere and I start reading something, I fall asleep.
Well, by saying reading, I meant just the last time I held a book in my hands was like many years ago. But I go through books like audiobooks and stuff. Yeah. That's what I meant. Yeah. Like how often? How much time?
I'll say maybe one a month, maybe.
How much time you dedicate for self-education? Let's say it doesn't have to be
every day. I have like hours of. I mean, I listen probably at least 2 to 3 hours of different speakers, or actually call someone I talk to about some issues or problems in my life. Not like a therapist, but business wise.
Yes.
But you have to do it. I personally think at least a few hours a day, not push it, to learn something. You just have, otherwise you don't grow. And you don't have to learn something about business. You can learn how a tree grows. Or like
it's not only a tree. I mean, to be able to understand, to be able to look at life and any issue and problem that you're facing on a daily basis, you need to have, the way I see, you need to have a little bit of knowledge from many fields to be able to analyze the situation. So I hear what you say.
You have to learn a little bit here, there. And if you really want to get something, like for me, like I don't need to read like all the books in the world, right? If I'm like learning into a subject, I'm really stubborn. I'm an addict, right? So if like my latest addiction lately has been like mountain biking, right? I'm like obsessed about it. So I started like learning everything about it, how to do this, that, and that. And you get over that, and you get something in 12s, and then you get over that, and you get something else. Like, it's not just like, I want to read, everything. If I have a subject, I will be stuck on it for like months till I really, really understand what it is.
Did you reach the age that you realize that you need to take care of your health already? Or not yet?
Oh, yeah. As soon as I hit 30.
And what do you do for that?
I'm really bad about it. Well, actually, I'll tell you a story. So about 3 weeks ago, I came home, started making dinner and everything. My wife was outside having a glass of wine. That's her like break time. When I come in, she goes out. I watch the kids.
To get a chance to miss each other.
You're okay with that way. But she goes outside. She has a glass of wine. She just relaxes outside. And then I'm like, I got this pain on my side, and I'm like, it's my kidney stone again, probably. And it's the second or third time it happened to me, right? Third time. This is my third time. So I'm like banging on the window. I'm like, and she's like FaceTiming her friend in, I think, Texas or whatever. I'm like, come. And she's like, 5 minutes. I'm like, no. Come right now. Come right now. I'm like, I'm in a lot of pain. I'm like falling down the window like in a scary movie. I'm like, and then, so I'm in a lot of pain. So I took some pills to like kill the pain. Didn't help. And, she's like, you have to go to ER. My ER is 1 minute, like literally by car. Like if I call the ambulance, it will take them like 3 minutes. Like driving there, it's like way much faster. So anyway, I went over there after like 3 hours of pain. And, they did all the stuff. They gave me like this medication. I came back home a few hours later. I'm feeling better. So the next day, I was like, that's it. No more fast food. Like at all. I'm done with it. I got to change my diet. So now I'm changing my diet. So I'm like, no more like drive-thrus from here. And for me, it's really, really hard because again, I'm on the road all of the time. From 7 a.m. till like 4 to 5 p.m. It's like in the car from one project to another, seeing clients or going to visit you when I get my teeth fixed. So it's like sometimes I don't have time to like go sit down and eat. And like making food at home, I'm very I blame myself, kind of procrastinate on that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of lazy, whatever you call it. I'm just like packing. It's like going to be cold and you can't really warm it up. It's like, I don't know, microwave in my car.
You don't get that comfort.
Yeah. So it's like, and then sometimes I'm on the rush. I have like 10 appointments. I have to be in 10 places in a day, right? So I'm like, the fastest thing is, hey, what I actually just realized is because I started looking for different
type of food.
Right? I started going to Ralph's and I'm like, hey, it's like actually faster. I go get like a box of sushi or like a chicken or a sandwich there, like self-checkout 30 seconds. Because I know exactly where everything is.
Faster.
Oh, yeah.
That's good.
So in terms of that, that's the only thing I'm started doing more healthier.
You just mentioned that you have 4 kids and I have 4 kids as well. And my logic was the way I saw that kids are attached to their mom at smaller age. Mm-hmm. We always had this conversation with my wife and I always keep telling like, the kids are yours till the age of 10 and after that I'm going to take over.
Interesting. Never thought about that.
And I'm realizing that, I'm stealing time from my kids and I'm trying to spend more time with kids now because it's, fun cuddling and playing around. Moms can do it much better and safer than us without throwing kids in the pool and try and drown them. But when it comes...
What age of 10?
Because that's when I feel that they detach from mom.
Interesting theory. Okay.
And they start asking questions that make sense.
Like to you. But they always ask questions.
No. I'm talking about the questions that they need actual explanation that makes sense and they learn from it.
They don't learn from anything.
They do.
Only when they hurt themselves.
No, they do.
Or when you get on my screen.
And the question is like, how much time on average you manage to spend with your kids on daily basis?
It's so bad right now because...
And do you have that guilty feeling that it's not enough?
Oh yeah, 100%. And sometimes I feel guilty even like, not doing stuff for the kids. When I can, and I'm just like trying to relax on the couch while I can be like actually doing stuff for them. Definitely huge guilt on that stuff. But for now, for example, my kids are like going to be 7, 5, 3, and 1.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, to 10 years old, I usually say to little like 3 to 5 years old, like 3 to 4 years old, you're kind of like with mom. And then after that, I'm like, you're all mine. So now, for example, my older boy, he loves baseball, right? He loves baseball. I take him go-karting. He loves that stuff. I'm trying to get him more into sports. Now I start going to baseball games with them and eat hot dogs.
That's what again.
Oh, dude, but he like loves it now. So I take him to a baseball game and that's like a whole, 4 or 5 hour type of event, if not more. You have to drive. I live in Thousand Oaks, driving to Dodger Stadium, traffic, just an hour there, so I kind of do spend time, baseball games. We go, it was twice a week before. Every game I'm there. I don't miss it. It doesn't matter what it is. I like rearrange my schedule, don't work Saturdays, and then, baseball games. Now season's coming for soccer, so, it's going to be more. And then my younger son, my second basically child, he's in T-ball. So I'm trying to be as much over there, but because of schedule of my older one, and I want to be there. Not because it's like...
Because you love baseball.
Because T-ball is baseball, just for little kids, but it's just like it's... The way they play, it's not as fun, and I'm trying to like make him good.
Yeah.
But I got him like this, this throwing machine and the net, and I'm taking him to batting cages. And this one I can't do it. He's too young. He can't do anything yet. He can barely swing. But soon he's going to get to the age, and I'm going to be like tearing apart, like you said. Who do I spend more time with? I don't know. I really don't know. It's going to be super hard. And I'm not talking about girls. Girls is going to be a mom. They're going to go to, dance and stuff like that.
You're wrong with it.
Huh?
You're wrong there. My girls, actually demand more time from me now
Oh yeah?
than my boys.
I haven't got to that age, so I don't know.
I mean, my girls are older,
Yeah.
and they're teenagers, and they're getting to the age that, I mean, they're in high school. They're like boys, relationship.
Wait,
all
high
that
school?
stuff.
What do you mean high school?
Yeah.
How old is
My
she?
oldest one is gonna turn 16 now.
God.
Yeah,
Oh
they're
my
pretty
God.
old.
Oh my God.
You remember them? Like,
Yeah. Wait, how's the youngest one then?
the kid, the boy,
Yeah.
9.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You have so much more kid years experience than I do.
Yeah.
right
So the thing is, when it comes to girls, the way I see, in the state that we live in and in a time that we live in, there's a lot of things that we do accept and understand that is normal, but we don't appreciate that. And you want to teach your child to be a decent child, decent human being. And the way I see, you cannot isolate them from all the negative information that we would love to isolate them. So my logic was it still is, to better expose and talk about that topic.
Of course.
And let them learn from me, then hide it and they're going to do it on side.
Well, it's only learn from
and
you.
make mistakes.
I think that any person should be exposed to as much information as possible. So I'll give you an example, right? So, for example, and I had this debate with my friends as well. During COVID times, when we moved to a new house, the only school that was technically open and was close to us was a Jewish school. We were not Jewish, but that school was accepting anyone. They're just like, please come.
Yeah.
We'll take anyone. We don't care if you're Jewish, Muslim, Christian, or, Buddhism, whatever it is, right? They took everyone. And my friend's like, well, I have a lot of close friends and they're Jewish, and they're like, why are you doing this? Are you making fun of us? I'm like, no, I need childcare. It's a great school. They have security there. They have food. They give great education there. It's like, let them learn. I'm like, well, there's nothing wrong for I was raised in not a religious family, but it didn't really, I mean, I don't go to church every Sunday.
You're not atheist.
I'm not. I'm definitely not an atheist.
You might not be religious, but you're not atheist.
I'm not an atheist. Definitely not an atheist. Definitely believe there's something out there. But I was raised as Christian Orthodox, right? Mm-hmm. So the whole icons, all that stuff. But my wife, she is Catholic. Mm-hmm. So when I went to her church and I've seen people playing on drums for me, it was a shock, culture shock. Mm-hmm. So for my friends who are Jewish, for example, for them to go down to Christian school, it will be the same thing. And then that's what we're saying. How can you give your daughter and your kids to a Jewish school? And I'm like, well, let them learn and let them figure this out. So we have Christmas, we have Shabbat at the home. I don't know anything. I call my friends. I'm like, hey, what is this holiday? What are we going to do?
What do you do there?
But I'd let them figure this out. They're still young and they're probably going to forget about this and figure this stuff out. But there's really nothing wrong with exposure and information. The problem is when you get exposed to some information and you take it to an extreme level, like some conspiracy people do, and that's an obsession, and then things go south.
So pretty much, you can expose a child to information, but not force the belief.
Of course,
and make them believe in stuff that you're actually scared of. Yeah, it makes sense. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. I've actually had the conversation with my daughter, and she asked me how to act because she liked a guy, and she was like, how can I pretty much start the conversation? And we were discussing that, and I actually realized that I've built enough trust with my child so she can share that information with me. I was happy. The fact that she's actually sharing that information with me. I mean, yeah, I pretty much told her pros and cons about that, but the fact that she actually...
When did you ask you this? At what age?
16.
Oh, that's what I have
You'll get there.
That's what
You'll get there.
I don't even know.
It's 2 blinks of the
eye. I don't know.
You'll get there.
I don't even know.
Yeah. So, yeah, spending time with kids is very important. And
how do you dedicate time with all 4 kids?
Same as you do. Same way. I'm building businesses so I can have more time.
But you don't.
I do. Trust me, I do. It's all about time management, and it's all about.
By the way, that's a very, very great thing you said.
My number one rule, what I do with my kids, I never say I'm tired. Doesn't matter what time I get home. If they say let's play card games, we're playing card games. At least one round. I never say I'm tired. Because if I say I'm tired, they're going to learn saying I'm tired.
Yeah.
And they're going to be tired for their family.
Yep.
I don't want lazy kids.
Yep. No, I definitely. I actually want to. I think time management, and I feel this. It's a very big issue with most people. I personally think. I'll give you an example. When people tell me, "Hey, we have a meeting at 2 to 3 o'clock, right? Like at 2 o'clock." I'm there like at 1:50, 1:55, the latest. If I'm there at over 2:01, I'm like freaking out.
Yeah.
I value other people's time, for example, but biggest problem what I notice with people is time management. They don't have to, I think there should be like a class. And it's like so basic, how to manage their time right. What is priority to do? What is not? Which task do I do now? Which task do I do later?
When we implement those classes, we better hire people from Europe, Germany and Czech Republic.
Maybe Japan.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to time management and being punctual, Europe is the place where you can learn that. You're right. Yeah, we suck here at the time management, but it's, I think we'll learn more about, finding excuses than actually doing things here.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. 100%.
Especially in school, kids learn that very, very fast. How do you, what's your hobby? You said you love mountain biking.
So I just recently, a couple of years ago, I got really into mountain biking. I just actually got myself an electric bike, and people make fun of me, but I don't care. It's the greatest thing.
Climbing up mountain. You're a cheater.
I see, that's what people say. I'm not a cheater. If I wanted to exercise, I would exercise in the gym.
Down the hill.
I like to get up because it's like therapy for me, right? I get out, there's no one there, there's no one screaming, there's no one asking me questions, my phone is not ringing because there's probably no reception. I hate going uphill because I really don't like working out. Like question you said before, like what do you do for your body? Well, working out is not my favorite thing.
What do you do? Yoga, meditation, any?
So socialize with friends. That's that's like my getaway with things, which happens once a month or two, whatever it is. But like mountain biking or like, for example, fishing, if I get out away, that's like if I especially go by myself, I'm like, recharging. Because you got to recharge. You just have to recharge. If you don't recharge,
and the more stress you go through, the more you need to recharge.
There's other things that people do as well.
What's your favorite drink?
Alcoholic or tea?
Drink. Liquids. Doesn't matter. It can be gasoline.
Well, every morning I drink tea. I love tea. I wake up, I always have tea. It's either, I like fruit teas, I like green teas, black teas sometimes, with some lemon. I don't really during the week, very, very rare. Unless I'm going somewhere. And let's put it this way, I never drink at home by myself. I don't do that. I don't understand why people do this. A glass of wine or a glass of beer or a bottle or whatever it is to get the stress. I'll eat ice cream. But if I go out, and I go out with my friends, I like to drink tequila. That's my drink.
I see.
Tequila on the rocks straight, sometimes with soda, depending on what type of day I'm supposed to have next day. And I can't really drink on Fridays or Saturdays because it's usually kids' days. Because it's Saturday, it's baseball. You don't want to be hungover. Happened to me once. I'll never do that again. Sundays, it's always some kids' birthday parties. Hard to be hungover again. You can't do that. So usually my drinking days, if I go drinking, it'll be like a Thursday. We have this thing with my friends we do. We'll drink it. I'm usually tequila again. Nice, aneo, tequila, that's my thing. No vodka.
How many days do you spend at work? 5 days a week?
At work?
Well, for work. For your work? Business.
Physically or mentally? Mentally, it's 24/7.
No, physically, is it 5 day week or 6 day week?
For me, it's 5 days. I'm Monday through Friday, sometimes Saturdays. If I'm my client is asking me, I have to be there for some unknown reason, which I don't understand why, but very, very rare. Saturdays now, but usually Monday through Friday.
Do you travel?
To work? Yeah, it's hard to go right now, travel my family, because we have so many kids getting on the plane, as you know. Well, 4 kids.
Pretty costly.
Well, I'm not even talking about that. That's a completely different subject. Just the whole process of getting through security, even I have.
Oh, I passed that stage. They woke.
Well, yeah, I don't. I still have
carry their own luggages.
And I just, three of my kids now said, well, my youngest one, well, my third one, just said, I want my own luggage bag because the boys had it.
The one on rollers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Two of my youngest.
But then my wife has like another 5 bags, and then, I have like a little small bag.
There's actually a saying that vacation with family is not vacation. It's a relocation.
No, it is. You're absolutely right. You're 100% right. So it's very hard. We go visit like family like in different states. So I mean, you call it traveling as well. We have family in like Salt Lake and a few different cities in Texas. We go there at least a couple of times a year. But we do go camping a lot, and I have like a trailer.
In California?
Yeah. So I have a truck, we have a travel trailer, and we get everyone in there, and we take 2 cars now because we can't fit in one. And we go.
So,
not a vacation.
I know. End of the day. You mentioned a lot of different activities and the stuff that you do with family, for yourself. Would you be able to afford that if you were working for someone?
Absolutely. Well, trick question.
Unless you're IT specialist.
No. Well, I mean, IT people make a lot. Look, in any type of profession, you can make a lot of money, right? I mean, depending what level you are at, right? I have friends who have like 1 kid and they have, 2 incomes. And they can afford a lot of stuff. If I didn't have 4 kids, I'll have 4 Ferraris right now. I swear to God. But I have 4 kids and nannies and schools, this and that. I mean, you have to you have to reach a certain level, and it takes you a long time to get to that position of earning a 6-figure
Let
income.
me rephrase the question. How often do you regret that you started your own business?
Regret?
Yeah.
Well, I would never regret it.
Okay. That was the question.
I've had lots of businesses. I have other businesses right now as well. There's no regrets. I don't regret anything. I regret of not doing some things. I regret some things when I did it as a child. Well, younger, but that's nothing to do with business. But there will be 0 regret about starting a business. Never. I think everyone should start a business. I even tell my employees, I'm like, you should do your own thing eventually.
So Max 10 years ago, and he has the same experience and knowledge as you are now.
Yeah.
Would you start a business again?
Absolutely. I just didn't. I just did Max 5 years ago, started the exact, just a different location. But separate business, separate from everything. So absolutely. You have to.
So yeah. Titan Pavers. Human being.
Not really. More like a machine.
Alright. Another question that's very important, and I don't know, maybe it's age related, but I get to a point recently that I start to analyze life and get to a point that there's going to be an end.
There's going to be what?
End.
Okay.
To everything.
Yeah.
Are you scared of death?
Every day. Because I really don't know what's gonna, like, are you talking about business or like life or like
your own death?
My own end?
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of my own. There's never end. There's gonna be something else after this. That's what I truly believe, right? What I'm scared of is that my business is going to end and I won't be able to support my family. That I am shit scared of. That's what keeps me actually going every day. So pretty much
your responsibilities are keep you up and running.
Oh yeah.
More than actually fear of death. I mean, responsibilities towards your family, towards
That's
your
my
kids,
biggest
or your
responsibility in this life is my family. That's what keeps me waking up every day to do anything that basically I'm doing. That's my thing. For other people it might be different, but I'm responsible for 4 little kids. My wife was a grown woman. She can do whatever she wants. But the kids, when they're little, they don't know anything. You have to educate them. You have to teach them. You have to provide for them. How are you going to do that with no money? You can't. And then I don't like. I want them to have
money.
It's a big factor. It's a very, very big factor.
It is a big factor, but I understand. I've had the same logic, but I got to a point that I realized that if I provide everything for them, I'm just gonna handicap them. So
I'm talking about
you're gonna
basic
get
stuff as they have to go to school, they have
food,
to learn.
shelter, and
I'm not talking about giving them everything there is. I'm talking about giving him the basic stuff, but not making them suffer or eat like,
Yeah, but you I mean, that's the main reason that I told you that after age of 10, they're mine, because after age of 10, I should be able to teach them how to survive without me. Because you want to provide them comfortable childhood.
Yeah.
With good experience, with comfort, as you said. But there is a certain age that the safety net shouldn't become a hammock and keep them there. So they should rely on you as a safety net, but you should be able to prepare them for life to be independent human being.
I agree. I think 10 is a little too early. I think more like 13 to 15. That's when they should figure stuff out on their own.
I prefer 10.
I prefer they do it right now too, but that's not going to happen. I don't think you were. Just imagine what you were doing when you were 10.
There are a lot of things that I knew more than them, and there's a lot of things that I learned from them.
Lived in different age too, in different country.
That's what I'm saying. So by at least teaching them, you have a little chance that they're going to remember a certain percentage from whatever you told them. By not doing anything, they're not going to learn.
They're going to learn a lot from TikTok, YouTube, and all the stuff that they probably shouldn't, because they're exposed to all this information right now, which is like that.
Can you cut them off from that?
You can cut them off, but
should you?
I don't think you should. I don't think you should cut any information off from any child. I'll give you a story. My child was 1, maybe, and we lived in an older house. We had this like mat, and it's like the alphabet, A, B, C, D, all the letters. And I'm about to leave to work, and I'm sitting there, I'm saying bye to my child. I think it was the first one. And he's like, A, and then he's like putting A in there, and he's like D, and he puts the D in there. And I'm like,
how do you skip?
No, how do you see? I'm like, he actually knows alphabet. He knows the letters. And I'm like, I didn't teach him. And I call my wife. I'm like, hey, did you teach him? She's a school teacher. So I'm like, maybe you did. She's like, no, I didn't. And she's like, and then we call a daycare lady, and we're like, hey, did you teach him alphabet already? And she's like, no. And what I realized, I give him iPad. I don't think there's really nothing wrong with kids' iPads for educational shows. You just got to limit them, like in half an hour, whatever time you think is right. They can actually learn. So he learned the alphabet from that. So he can actually sing all the alphabet by age of like, whatever, I think it was like, he was 1. Some kids don't speak.
I actually had an interesting experience with my kids. So few months ago, my kids asked me like, hey, Dad, you always teach us the games that you used to play when you were a kid. Can we play a game that we're actually playing now? I'm like, all right, what is it? So, of course, it's some kind of online game. It was either Minecraft or some other thing. I have no idea what is it. No, it wasn't World of Warcraft. I wish, but it's too complicated for them. So they were like, okay, let's play that game. So each one of my kids got a laptop, logged in. They created another character for me. They logged me in. I'm like, what do they do? They're like, nothing. You just run next to us. We'll take care of everything. So there was like 4 bodyguards.
Level you.
Yeah.
They'll run
4
you
bodyguards killing left and right. So, and I realized that sometimes we're not evolving fast enough to keep up with them. There's a lot of parents that are saying, oh, this technology and kids are like, they're not physically active, they're not playing outside. Maybe they don't need that. I mean, it would be the same thing as our grandparents would say, oh, look at this child, he cannot even ride a horse. You're not going to need that anymore. You're done.
Well, I mean, if you really think about this, right? Imagine if, like, let's say your parents, right? My parents, if they had, like, let's put it this way. I heard the stories from my mom, right? When they got a first VCR back in Moscow, like in the 80s, the entire block of people came and they were watching like some movie that they got on the black market.
From somewhere.
It was like, yeah. So imagine if they had like a Game Boy or whatever, like this device, and you have like a million, games that you can play on, right? You want to tell me they want to be playing this? My dad keeps playing it right now, and he's like 50 or 60, whatever it is. I don't think it's bad for kids to evolve technology. I think everything has to be done in proportion. Playing your games, play on this. You need to go play outside, you go do that. You can't eat too many hamburgers.
So balance.
You have to have a balance of this stuff.
That's true.
Everything to extreme is really bad. Sports to be a professional athlete, I think it's bad for you because you're actually killing your body. If you were professional, I don't know, anything I don't think it's good. Everything in moderation, I think, is great. You don't have to eat too much. You don't have to drink too much. You do a little bit of everything. It's good. It's not going to kill you.
That's true.
You do a lot of running. One of my mentors told me, if God meant us to run, we wouldn't be walking right now.
Yeah, we would be on full pulse.
I don't know about full, but you'll be running. Why don't we run? We're always walking because it's really. They say it's good for you in moderation. Otherwise, if you always run, you'll die. That's why you're walking.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's being physically active is important because our lifestyle is eliminating physical activity.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you do need to do that, but not to the
thanks to technology
level.
and business people.
Not to the extreme level.
Which is great, by the way. You want some food, you order something. You want something delivered, or you've been driven to, or anything, or even you want to buy something right now. What do you want to buy? Let's just order it. 1 second, Amazon, boom. And every other retailer in the world. Soon we will be like in the movie, what is it called? Idiocracy, I think, right?
Oh my God. Yeah.
But
University of Costco, right?
We'll be
watering plants with electricity.
Yeah. Eventually, if you look at it, if you take our population as like a train, right? Like a locomotive, right? There's like the front of what pushes the train. There's like, the engineers are sitting there, like the smart people, like who actually make shit fucking happen, right? And then there's like the rich people who are like giving the money
early
to do
adopters.
the stuff. And then there's just everyone else who just don't do anything.
That's true. Do you think that your business is going to be around in 10 years? There's a lot of, why am I asking that? Not your business, your field.
My field? Oh,
let's say.
My field, yes. For the next.
So it's not going to be, another thing that I'm worried when my kids, my kids reach a certain age that we have to choose profession for them.
Mm-hmm.
And you read books, you watch movies, you watch documentaries, and you come to a realization that 80% of the professions that do exist now are going to be taken over by computers or robots or whatever in 10 years, 20 years. Yeah. So by the time your kid graduates and get that freaking certificate, it's going to be obsolete.
Mm-hmm.
So as a father of 4 kids, that's my main worry. What kind of profession to choose?
It's a really good question. You said there's a lot of professions. Usually, most of them I think is going to be like, I don't think. Well, it's really hard because manufacturing, you already have robots taking care of that stuff, right? But you have someone who has to like design that stuff, make it happen. So engineers are always going to be there. Doctors,
partially.
It's really hard because you think about it like. Did you hear about this like new drug they just they did and like they got rid of cancer with like old patients? There's like a stomach, I think, or whatever it is, gun. Construction, I think, is always going to be there because you kind of need people
How
to build
about
stuff.
printing houses 3D?
Yeah, but that's just a house. There's so many other things that you have to do to build that house. You can't just, like, I've seen those houses when they try to, like, put and, like, they open up, but you still have to assemble them somehow and do it. Raw materials, I personally think robots probably will take over the world eventually, but it's not going to be in my or your lifetime, or I think our kids' time.
So
I think there's going to be, like, waiters, coffee machines,
simple stuff.
Taxis, like cars driving themselves. 100%. Remember taxis?
Yeah, we're cabbies. That's how we got to know each other. 15 years ago.
It was more than that. It was more than that. It was way much longer than that. Yeah. Jesus Christ, it was longer than that.
We're old, dude.
Yeah. But like stuff like this, probably. But there's a lot. I mean, yeah. Eventually, yes, a lot of jobs are going to be taken over.
So the question is, can you hope at least that one of your kids can take your business to a different level later on, or it's going to be obsolete? Or you don't want any of your kids, like, when there's a lot of people that ask if I want any of my kids to choose my profession, I always say if they choose that by will, and they love it, I'm happy. But I will never force them.
I'm the exact same way. I'm never going to force my kids to do what I want them to do. I'm not going to be that dad who...
Even though you built a mini empire and...
Doesn't matter. If I build a mini... If I build an empire, which is...
Mini empire, whatever it is.
People say the empire. Not a lot of people get to do it. Like 1% of people do it. But what's it called? For them to choose something, let them choose whatever they want. They don't have to do my business. I'm not gonna ever force them. If you want to be a doctor, baseball player, or I don't know, painter, whatever it is, it's up to them. My job is to give them the tools to do what they want to do.
We spoke about life. We spoke about family and kids. I'm pretty sure, I'm sure you already got to that level, but there's, when you start a business, you have some kind of dreams. Like, you have some kind of challenges, and I guess your first decision was like, all right, I don't want to work for this asshole. I can do it better myself, and I'll be responsible for my actions, and I'll manage my time my way. You start your own business. Correct me if I'm wrong. The first year, you're just in survival mode. The second year, you're like, all right, I think I know what I'm doing. Let me improve errors. 5 years, you're already beating competition, stabilize your business, and then you grow bigger and bigger. But the main reason, well, my example, I think most of the young entrepreneurs start the same way and have same goals, that you want to fulfill your dreams. Most of them are childhood dreams. Have a cool bike, have a cool car. That's what drives you at the beginning. But then you get to a level that you're the respected business owner. The way you said that when you get to a certain level of success, a lot of people come and ask for advice that has nothing to do with your business, life advice, because they know how to analyze the issue and fix it. And then you get to a point that you hear so much positive stuff about yourself. The success, there is a certain level that success starts slowing you down.
Yeah.
And
because you start to feel comfortable.
You're pleasing your ego.
Mm-hmm.
how do you control? I know it's hard to control your ego, but how do you manage your actions? How do you lower your ego to a level that you're not living in ivory tower, but you're still a human being and you're an average guy? How do you keep yourself on a level of pretty much average person and not to become like
snob?
Pretty much.
Well, first of all, let's go back to, like you said, you were in, like, first year in survival mode. The second year you said you were, like, doing better. What I realized is, this is from my own experience, business experience, that you are in survival mode or whatever you want to call it. When you get to a certain level, when you think you are, like you said, killing the competition or doing stuff, there's always going to be competition, no matter what. If you got to this level, there's going to be new guys that are going to try to kill you either with their pricing or bad talk. It's called hammering, right? Just to take the business away, and some do, some don't. But we live in Los Angeles. There's so much business out here for any type of profession, for any type of business, because there's so many people living here. If you would live in a different place and you're doing a service when you have less population, it would be different. So, for example, like I wanted to open up a business up north, the same thing doing over there as I'm doing here. It would be way much harder because of X amount of people, right? So when you reach X amount of years in business, when you're getting bigger, as we talked about earlier, you start kind of losing money. Let's put it this way. If you don't have the system in place, nobody does at that point in time. And you also have to have capital, right? I started my company with $5,000. I had nothing. Buying equipment, buying, marketing. I'm not even talking about that. So you can get to a stage when you're feeling, hey, I'm making money. Like you said, I can get a bike, or I can get this, your childhood dreams. That's just materialistic things that you're buying. It's not really you're fulfilling a dream. To keep your ego down, you have to give yourself a little shock and see where you're at and just be a normal human being. I'll never look down on a person and be like, oh, he is making less money, or he doesn't have this or doesn't have that, and I'm going to look down on him. Me personally, because as a human being, you are still a human being. You have to respect other people because you really don't know how this life is going to turn things around, what you will need from this person, or how he's going to help you in the future. And I've seen that happen many, many, many times. When you burn one bridge, it can burn other bridges around you as well. You just going to be on tiptoes. You're always going to be ready for it. You can't be an a-hole. you just can't. You cannot, and there's a lot of people who start, one thing I don't do, I'm not a big social media guy, right? I don't post anything private about my life. I don't show off when I go out to dinner and, oh, look what I'm eating. Where I'm going to some game, I'm like, oh, look where I'm sitting and you are not. I don't do that type of stuff. I keep my life very, very, very personal. I personally think it's a big issue, and a lot of people, when they are especially trying to start something or try to do something, or they're just even home, they're, laying in bed or on the couch and they're watching YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, and they're like, oh, look, this guy has a Ferrari. You don't know what's behind that stuff. You might have that Ferrari, but he might be broken inside of him.
Rented.
You never know.
For 10 minutes.
It could be anything.
There are actually companies in Italy that rent you out luxury.
Yeah, of course. I have a buddy who does that stuff, but I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying, just in general, people get envious about that, and they think they're fulfilling their stuff with fake second life, or whatever you want to call it. I don't do that. I don't. So with I don't have the only I would think I'm bad is sometimes managing or spending too much money and stuff, but I don't. Money can be made. You lose some money, you make some money. I think money is energy. It's you kind of you attract. If you always think you're gonna be broke, but not think of I'm I'm gonna be super rich. No, you gotta do things for it. You can't just say I'm gonna be rich and I'm gonna wake up at 10 o'clock and go to work. No, you gotta wake up early. You gotta do stuff. You gotta hustle. You gotta in terms of ego, I mean, you just gotta be a grounded person just for yourself.
Do you have someone, most of the time it's your wife, spouse, or close friend, that keeps you All right, let me ask you this way. Do you do reality checks, and how often, if you do? Or do you do it by yourself, or there's someone that keeps you real, keeps you low-key, and reminds you that you're the
in my family,
you're mortal?
Well, of course. Well, in my family, it's me that in terms of like does the reality checks for myself, because like if I'm pushing myself hard in one thing, I'm like, okay, slow down on this. Spending too much, slow down on this. If you're doing too much work, slow down on that. Spending too much time with your friends or family, slow down on that. Again, you gotta have a balance.
And you just mentioned that you keep your life private and you don't post stuff. There's actually, when you were talking about that, I remember we went out with my family and we're at the restaurant. They served real nice, beautiful salad. My daughter took a picture and she was about to post it, and I told her, like, why do you want to post that picture? She's like, well, it's nice. I'm like, you have no credit of making that salad, serving that. You don't even pay for that. Why do you think you deserve to post that?
And that's the biggest problem with people these
days. That's the thing. Did you get to a certain level when you realized that you should keep your life private, or you were always like that?
Both. I like privacy, period. I have like curtains in every window of my house. So I don't really want people knowing where I'm at, what I'm doing, unless I want you to know, and I'll text you privately. I'll be like, hey, I'm here, come. Or like, hey, you want to stay, come to this place, But I'll never post it and be like...
Is that because of some kind of fear, or...
Both that and I don't want to...
You just don't like to show off.
I don't like to show off. I like... There's a saying that money likes being quiet. Деньги любят тишину.
That's true.
So I've had friends, a couple of them that were showing off a lot of stuff on their social media, and bad things happened to them. So I always said, like to my family and my friends, I'm like, don't do that. You never know what's going to happen. You never know who's watching.
That's true.
How many things you see around that, children get abducted, child pornography, or whatever it is.
Well, you get to a certain level at your business and it's kind of wrong phrase to say give back to society, but how do you
give back?
Pretty much. Do you donate? Do you believe in donations? How do you calculate how much should you donate?
I don't have a formula of how much to donate, but I'll put it to you this way. This is what I do personally. I have certain friends or some clients that always have some type of fundraisers. Either some, for example, careness awareness for some type of cancer, right? They do fundraisers. I come there as a sponsor. I donate, right? In terms of giving back, I don't go feed the homeless because I have friends that do that all the time. And I told them, I'm like, hey, I kind of want to come with you one time, but I don't know when that's going to happen. But I do donate in terms of fundraisers. Yeah, I do.
Do you do that to please your own ego or no?
I feel that it's good karma. So maybe yes.
So it's for your
yeah. But yes, I mean, yes, you have to give back. I like, for me, I always for example, I open doors for people, right? I feel good about it. I'm like, if somebody's working, I'm like, I'll hold their door for you. Sometimes I feel bad because they start running. I'm like, don't worry, I'll wait. You can just walk. Don't worry. But there's little things that you do that, helps people. Like somebody passes by.
I think it helps you first.
It does. I mean, but everything we're in human nature, we are greedy people. Greed controls people, and unfortunately, that's why we have all these wars, that we have all these things that we want as well. If you weren't greedy, you wouldn't, start a business, even that, because you want that, you want this, you want that, you want that, you want to have a nice life. Why do you have that? Because you want. It's not because I need, it's because you want. That's the biggest issue of people. It's their wants, not their needs. Your needs is water, basic food, and shelter. That's your survival.
So you can be caged animal. They're gonna feed you.
Well, I mean, you're not a caged animal. You're not. You still free around, do whatever. But the want is different. You want nice shoes. You want nice watches. You want nice thing. You want nice car. You want nice house. You want that. You don't need it. I don't need a huge house, but do I want one? Yeah. And everybody else. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's greed. Greed is good.
If you're not hurting anyone.
Exactly, yeah. You never want to hurt anyone. Why hurt anyone? And don't take advantage of people. Like in my business, I never take advantage of people. In my industry, concerning that, there is, especially in the home improvement, Jesus Christ, it's so bad. Especially the elder community. Oh my God, there's even laws against that.
Do you play chess?
Absolutely.
Do you feel like predicting more than 3 moves ahead helps in your business?
I think you need to predict more than that.
Well, at least 3 moves ahead.
Absolutely. It's actually not just in business. In everything in life that I do, I'm always trying
to predict actions.
Well, this is the way I plan things, right? Let's say like a business. Like let's say like where do you want to be in 5 years? So you don't start like from the beginning. You go to backtrack. You're like, okay, I want to be at whatever number. Let's say like $5 million, $10 million, right? You put that number. Now you reverse engineer and say, how do I get from here? And you go back. Same thing as anything else. Like you want to make food. You want to make some, I don't know, borscht, for example. You know the ending. You reverse engineer, how do I make it? So it's the same thing. You have to always think forward. And how else are you going to do it?
How far do you plan business-wise? How many years ahead
Lately I've been really bad about it. Past year I've been really procrastinating. But, I'll say at least,
all right, let me ask you this.
Europe.
When do you want to retire? If you want to.
I don't want to retire. I always want to keep doing something. I don't want to retire.
Okay, when do you want to, at which age you want to work without thinking of making money?
No.
I
don't need
care
money?
how much you make. You do it for fun. Like this podcast.
For fun?
That I decided to start. I'm starting not because I want to make more money, but I just want to grow and learn.
For fun. Business is done not for fun, unfortunately. It's not. The people say like, do something that you love and you'll do it, you will enjoy doing it. I enjoy doing like anything. That's personally me. Like, except like working out. I wouldn't do that as a business. But, I don't know. Like, when you want to retire, I don't. I do not want to retire. I want to always do something. I love creating stuff. I just love either creating a business or creating an idea or creating, something at my work or creating some kind of like solving a problem that needs to be solved. I love problem solving. What are you going to be doing? You're going to be fishing all day long? You're going to go golfing? I've done that. It's boring.
It is.
I've done that.
When you do it very often,
Look, the long weekends for me with my family is good, but at like third or fourth day, I'm like
punishment.
And I just want to get back to work. I want to do stuff. Call me a workaholic. Call me a this, but like you can't just like relax all the time. It's just boring. There's nothing. There's like if you like, let's say for example, if you're an athlete, right, and you win a championship, how long do you celebrate it? What do you think? How long like an athlete should celebrate a championship?
A day, a night,
a week, tops 2. Then you get back to work. Yeah, what's going to happen? You have athletes who start, don't stop celebrating, and then they're nothing.
I always keep telling my kids, like, becoming a champion, it's much easier than staying a champion.
Absolutely.
Because when you are a champion, every single one wants to beat your ass. Yeah. You gotta stay there.
Of course, that's what I'm saying. Staying on top of being on top of your toes or heels, whatever you call it, being always aware, it's the hardest thing. It's easy to knock out like old competition that been doing the same thing like a dinosaur for 20 years with times changing. But when you actually beat them and there's new guys coming up with some new stuff, what are you going to do?
You're becoming a dinosaur.
What are you going to do? They're going to take you out because there's new technology, there's new things, they talk better, they look better. I don't know. There's other stuff. You got to like keep up with times. Change is good. When people say, I hate change, they don't evolve. And as humans, we evolve. You have to evolve. You have to learn. You have to be something. That's what I'm saying. iPads and those things, like you said, oh, how do I play this? If there's a new World of Warcraft that's going to come out, you will find out how to play it and become the next 120 level Death Knight.
Good times. Good times.
I don't even know what level is that right now, but I'm just saying.
Good times, yeah.
Or a mage in my case.
Yeah.
They just came out. They just came out with Diablo on the iPhone.
Do you still follow them?
No, but I downloaded it. And I'm like, I'm afraid to open it because I know what's going to happen. I downloaded it and I'm afraid to open it. But I play games like on my phone. Like usually, I go to like, when I sit.
Don't tell me while you're driving.
No. No. When I sit on the throne. When I sit on the throne, that's when I, open out some games or Instagram or stuff like this. That's the only time I'm on social media. I'm never like, I'll be like sitting somewhere. I'll read something, but social media, it's usually in my bathroom time.
I guess you're not alone there. A lot of people do that.
But I can't post stuff. I don't understand how people are just like filming in public I don't get that part. For me, it's like, I don't want to film you. It's like, you have your own private stuff.
I think when you're happy in your life, you want to experience things by seeing through your eyes, not through the camera lens. So I feel what you say, and I'm like that too.
We just went to a stand-up comedian, right? And I'm not going to mention it, but whatever. We went to the stuff, and there's so many people who are just like with their phones, and I'm like, he's telling an amazing joke, you're missing it. Like, it's, come on, I'm like, watch it. Or like, I'm going to an Elton John concert, right? I guarantee you everybody's going to be on their phones. Like, I'm like, no, I'm like, we got good seats. We got good seats. I want to be there in that moment because this is like last show.
What's your favorite joke?
I don't have a favorite joke. I know so many, I don't remember.
Tell me a joke.
Alright, well, let me see here. I'm really, really bad at remembering them, but if you tell me a joke, I'm like, oh, I know that one. So, okay, Putin goes to hell, okay? He dies and goes to hell. He gets, 1 day of, vacation because he had good behavior. So he goes back on Earth, he goes back to Moscow, he goes to a bar. He asks the bartender, he's like, hey, how things are here? He's like, everything's great. He's like, how's Crimea doing? He's like, oh, it's ours. He's like, oh, how's the Khabarovsk? He's like, oh, that's ours. He's like, how was that? He's like, oh, it's ours too. He's like, oh my God, things are so great. He's like, you know what? I'll have a beer. He's like, sure. He'd be like, how much? And he's like, €5.
Yeah.
That's like the last one that somebody.
An old economics professor is teaching his student and saying, what's the difference between capitalism and socialism? And students like, what is it? He's like, during the capitalism, a person is employing another person. How about socialism? It's vice versa.
Yeah, that's another thing. A lot of people, people in politics nowadays, they separate everyone. Everything is separated. You're this or you're that. You can't say about that. You say that. You're this, that. Nobody can get along with each other. It's craziness.
Do you follow politics?
No, I don't. I stay away, to be honest, as far as possible away.
Do you feel like...
I'll tell you why. Because they say one thing, do the opposite. They say this and they do that, and everybody lies. And everything...
I feel like people who trust politicians and follow them and hope that something's going to be fixed are trying to put the future of their future and future of their kids in somebody else's hands.
Could be. I mean,
create your own future and do your thing, and who cares who's in the White House or in Kremlin.
I mean, you have to have politics, so somebody has to run stuff and do stuff. It's just I don't follow it because I don't really understand enough about it. And at the same time, what I understand, they say one thing, they do the opposite. For me, that's at least for me what I see. And then people fight about it. It's like you can't have a discussion. I say something and they're like, "Oh no, you're wrong. You're an idiot." And then it's like how can you have a conversation?
Yeah.
And it's just like
emotional.
Well, people get too emotional about people. I'm not going to get into that how emotional people get about anything you talk about these days. It's just nuts. It's crazy. You have to watch every little word you say. Literally. Or they point fingers and anyway, let's not talk about how sensitive everyone is these days.
Let's say there is a guy, Max, watching you now, and he decides to start a business. What's your number one advice?
Just execute things. Don't think too much. Don't overcomplicate. Everything has to be simple. That's what I believe in life. Everything great in life is simple. When people overcomplicate things, they struggle. Anything you want to start a business, whatever it is, just find someone who's doing something and replicate it and do it slightly a little better. And execute. Don't.
So pretty much whatever it is, you have to break it down to the level of simplicity and do one thing at a time.
Fine, just execute. Don't overthink on things. I have a friend that has been overcomplicating so many things. He's like, I'm going to start this and that, and he just like overcomplicates, and he has this like pages and pages of business plans for like over 5 years, and he still did not
execute anything.
Well, didn't open up a corporation, which these days after COVID it takes 24 hours, literally. Like I could fill it up right now and get a corporation. What today is what? Wednesday, Tuesday? Today's Monday. What is it? Monday today. So yeah, by Wednesday you have a corporation, article and corporation already filed and good. Pay $100 and it's done. Just start somewhere and keep on going. Break it down of what you need to do, like step A, B, C, D, and just go. But keep it simple. If you need money, find investors. Keep it simple.
Do you borrow money?
I borrowed recently, yeah, but because of either projects or buying equipment, stuff like that.
Do you have a cash cushion to survive economic downturn?
Yeah.
For how many months?
Well, I'll say at least half a year.
Business-wise or
both?
Family-wise?
Both.
Okay. And do you get scared when COVID starts?
Shit my pants. Because nobody knew what's happening. Nobody knew if somebody's taking over the world. Nobody knew if you can go outside. Nobody knew anything. And then literally I was home for a week, and there was like this very slow phone calls still were coming in. And then like on the second week, phones started just like exploding. Because everybody was home and they're like, what do we do? And let's improve our house. And they're essential workers.
What was the number one thing that kept you sane, organized, and not panicking when COVID started? I mean, let me tell you my situation so you understand. When COVID started and there was a lockdown, I've had probably 10 times more fear than the people that work with me.
Because of your financial responsibility towards other people.
But the fact that I saw that they're looking in my eyes and they're watching my actions kept me balanced, sane, and I was able to avoid panic because I'm responsible for
your employees.
Many people. Yeah.
When you become a business owner, most people will understand you don't work for yourself. You work for yourself. You're technically self-employed when you're just by yourself. As soon as you hire that one employee, you work for them. 2 employees, 3, 4, 10, like whatever you have, right? You technically work for them and your family, because if you can't keep them steady, everybody leaves and there's no more business. So it's kind of come and give. So, but at the same time, if you can't get business, there's nothing you can do. So you have to always stay sane. I mean, you have to always don't go crazy, but you always got to be aware of the situation and just be semi-cool about it, I guess.
Well,
also depending on your business. I mean, like, look, there's some businesses that just, like, there is no more of them. The restaurant industry almost got wiped out. So many people lost their businesses where they couldn't get any money, couldn't get clients, they barely survived. I know some restaurants actually made more money because they switched their strategy. They started, operating from ghost kitchens and doing more deliveries and actually started making way much money just on lunches than anywhere else.
So pretty much being flexible and staying focused.
Adjusting.
and not panicking.
Adjusting to the situation. Well, like if your industry is going to change right now, they're going to say, hey, we're going to start making rubber teeth and you're still making ceramic teeth or whatever it is. And that's the new thing that everybody wants. It's cheaper, like by 50 million times. But you're not going to change? Of course you will.
You have to.
You have to go with the flow. If you don't follow the flow, where are you going to go? You can't go against the flow. You're not a trout.
You'll get tired.
Well, not a trout, a salmon or whatever. Well, no, you just, it's not going to go anywhere. You have to go with the flow of everything. Be a little different and hope that, business will come to you. Get the business, earn the business. I mean, how did you become so successful?
I don't consider myself successful.
You are.
It's relative. When I look in my eyes through a mirror, I know,
but everything is relative. I don't think I'm even close to success where I should be, but then another person looks and you're like, oh my God, this guy is so awesome. But then you look at someone else and you're like, oh my God, this guy is so awesome. So you know how they say, like a sick person just wants one thing, right? He wants to be like healthy. And then you're healthy and you're like, oh, I want this, another 20 million things.
So it's still your ego and greed.
Of course. It comes back to that thing. So it's like, how do you gotta be like, you gotta figure out what is the enough bar for you? Where's that level?
Do you want to get there?
Yeah, of course.
To say enough.
My enough is where I feel comfortable in terms of financial. I don't want to like stress out about money and having as free time as well. So for example, I can say, hey, I can take it like a day off or two off without being stressful of where the money is going to come from. Why not, right? Something like this, let's put it this way. But it comes with time. It's not like a overnight thing.
Do you invest in retirement funds?
Yes.
And do you hire someone for that, or you do your own research?
I did my own research. Basic stuff: stocks, bonds, no NFTs.
Oh.
I have
way too far from
crypto. Some crypto. I have a wallet that I don't know the password to. I know I have some bitcoins in there. So I'm going to leave it for my kids. I'm like, it's there. I invested like early. I have some friends who invested like in 2010. They're so rich right now. They're not my friends around because I don't know where they are. Don't call them friends. There's somebody I used to know.
That's the thing. When you hear stories like that the guy that started something 10 years ago and he became
pizza with Bitcoin.
Yeah. And sometimes you get that feeling that, oh, lucky bastard, he hit the jackpot. Or somebody hit the jackpot, somebody got lucky with the investment and stuff. End of the day, to be honest with you, with yourself, when you're in front of the mirror, would you want that luck or no?
It's not luck. So, luck is Vegas. Like, that's where you have luck. Luck in an investment in terms of he got early, it's not luck.
Do you want to hit the jackpot in Vegas?
Well, that's luck. But that's different from what we were talking about. Luck of making investments, it's not luck. You invested money that you had into something that, it wasn't just like, hey, I'm going to throw some dice and get, a 7, or I'm going to hit a blackjack, or I'm going to hit the 3 lemons or whatever that, on the slot machine. That is luck. Which, by the way, it's technically not because it's really calculated. It pays out X amount of times how much money you put in. But you got to put all that stuff in. What you're talking about is investing in the right time, being at the right place. When you saw a company that is like Microsoft and coming out, or like Apple or Tesla 10 years ago, or whatever it is, and you invested, or Bitcoin. I know a bunch of people who have bought Bitcoin at 10 cents. And they bought a lot of them. A lot of them. They're very, very well off right now. I know a couple of people that sold at 50, 60,000, and I don't know where they are right now. I know they're traveling somewhere. Like, they're really well off. But you know what? It's like, it's not luck. They like, what is this thing? Let's buy it. And then they just kept it because they had money. They just bought thousands of them. And they're like, here, I just threw it away. Like, let's see what happens. And they just stayed on it. They weren't like speculating or day trading on it. How does that look? It's not. They bought it. They had the financial.
Being in right place on right time.
Well, it's like listening to other people. Like imagine if you have an extra $1,000 right now, and you can invest in some, I don't know, pharmaceutical company that's going to come up with the next cancer drug, right? Would you do it right now?
I am doing it.
Okay. So, what probably stocks are like either pennies or they're not even trading, or maybe they're trading, and then in 10, 20 years, they're going to be there. And you just invested only, I don't know, $1,000, $2,000. Right now, it's not big money, but for people who don't have the money, it's a lot of money. So, like, the hardest thing about, earning money is it's the first initial big sum. Where do you get it from? You get a loan, you earn it. That's the hardest part. So getting the first amount. After, like, how do rich people get rich? When they're rich already, people come to them like, hey, I have this idea, let's do this, let's do that. They come to them because they have money. I know for a fact, people come to me and be like, hey, I got this idea, you want to put some money into it?
Did you invest in businesses that failed?
Oh, yeah, I'm not able to say how many.
What's the percentage of success?
1%.
1%?
One
Are you
business.
lucky with that? No,
One
no,
business.
percentage.
I think.
How many you started, invested, and how many are?
Well, I was younger. I didn't really take my time about this. Now it's a little different. But even now, I just had a bad partnership. Business fell apart. Had another one that fell apart. I have right now. I'm starting 2 right now. Hopefully they'll work out. It's better. It can be like 1 out of 10 if you're lucky, and that's hard. Like to put all your time.
You're greedy. I'm considered successful if it's 1 out of 20.
I don't start 20 businesses. I don't have time for 20. I'm one is taking a lot of time.
Well, you're investing as well.
Well, yeah, but sometimes I don't have that much money to invest. Like, to every other business. We do a little bit there, and there. Some make, some don't, I'm talking about business where actually, like, it's a business, not just like a not like real estate. I don't consider that as a business.
Do you prefer partnership or being your own, like, being responsible for all the actions?
Well, it's hard. Again, it's if you are on your own, how do you dedicate all the time to all the businesses? You can't. It's impossible. It's physically impossible.
Your main business is this?
Main business, mine is mine only. Yes, and that's the only way it'll be. I have other ones similar to it. I have some partners in that because there's no way I can do all the stuff like I did it before. First of all, there's just no time.
It's physically impossible.
There's just no time. I try to, but there's no time. But then again, like I can make more time for it, but then it takes time for my family. I can't do that because what's the point of that then?
Yeah.
Do it for the next 5, 6 years, and then not watch your kids grow up. And when they say I'm just trying to realize this as my kids are different type of ages, like this are the years. And you've heard this all the time. Like spend time, because there you see them change like every day. I lost my tooth, or I did this, or I hit a home run. I fell. She's walking. She's saying the first word. She just fell from the chair. You broke a leg. Where it's all events you kind of like want to be there for, and if you're not, you're kind of missing it, and it kind of sucks. Because now they're going to grow up older, become teenagers, and then you have to have talks like you have with your daughter about how to talk to boyfriends, and then they're going to talk about businesses, and then God knows where they're going to end up, colleges, work, jail, you never know. So it's like and then this is the age where you kind of have to like sculpt them, and like this is kind of like they'll start figuring stuff out. And this is nothing. What I tell people, what I do doesn't mean you have to do it. Everything is different for every single person.
That's the thing. Everybody's when you're talking to people like on like very, very, very slight topic, you always have a feeling that your life is different. But when you dive deep and last hour we had these conversations and I found a lot of things in common, even though we're coming from different fields, but
still human.
Daily issues. And
I gave you something. Do you eat chicken?
Huh?
Do you eat chicken?
Yeah.
Do I eat chicken? Are you from Armenia? I'm from Russia. The only way different is different spices they do it. The chicken is still the same. You have kids, I have kids. It's the exact same thing. There's really nothing really different. It's just how your kind of parents brought you up, what your culture is a little different about it, but we all do the exact same thing. You have to take a shower, you have to go to work, you have to, body works the exact same. There's really nothing different. It's just what works for you better as an individual is going to be better for you versus a different person. And that's what makes everyone different. That is the biggest thing. But we do you're talking the exact same microphone, by the way. This is good. But our voices are different.
Mine is shinier.
Yeah, okay. Because you're cooler.
My head is shinier too.
No, it's the same one. It's the same Samsung one. It's the exact same thing. I mean, cell phones, they're iPhone, Samsung, right?
Samsung is for smart people. It's not an advertisement though.
But what's it called? What I'm saying is that, it does the exact same thing. It's just a little different. It still has the same apps. It does the exact same thing.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just like how you just like little things different about it. And I had Samsung for a very long time. Just back and forth.
Yeah, I did the same thing. Well, Max, it was nice talking to you.
Yes,
and
thank you for
I
having me
hope
here.
you'll come back.
This is the 100th guest.
In many episodes down the road.
100 guest, and then 1,000 guest, and then 1,000,000 guest.
I don't want to live that long. Come on, give me a break.
1,000,000, what do you think about it?
No.
You could 10 years?
No. Joe Rogan does his podcast for like more than 10 years, and he's on 1,500 episodes. So,
is he on 1,500?
Yeah. So,
Jesus Christ.
I don't want to live that long.
Yeah, it's good. This is good. I like this. This was
the main reason that we actually decided to start this podcast is just to meet small business owners, average guys that are going through the same struggle as I do, because most of the podcasts are we're watching and you see only celebrity entrepreneurs, Jeff Bezos level, Elon Musk level guys that are successful, but sometimes you're lacking information that is going to be helpful for yourself. And this is the main reason that I decided to start this thing, so I can share my experience and learn something from you.
Yeah,
and maybe
I like this.
Yeah, so I really hope this was kind of entertaining for at least us.
Oh yeah.
And
hopefully they click the record button.
Yeah, and whoever's watching this, thanks for your time, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and we hopefully will be present on all major social media platforms. And if you're interested in Titan Pavers, the information is going to be listed below. The link is going to be there. And there's a human being behind that company that is going through the same struggles that we all do. So if you're interested in starting your little remodeling or something, here's the guy. I've had my own experience with him. I'm happy. If I wasn't happy, I would never invite him here.
I thought it was your friend.
Max, thanks for coming.
Thank
it was
you.
a pleasure. And we'll see you next episode.